Telephone interviews is another form of survey approach. Well, telephone interviews are another form of survey. Unlike personal interviews, the interview is conducted over the telephone, as the title suggests. So here, the investigator, the interviewer, contacts the respondent over the telephone. Telephone interview questions tend to be the same as personal interviews, only the means of communication is different. So they tend to be roughly the same type of questions, but the communications is different. It's not face to face, it's over a telephone. There are lots of issues associated here with this. For example, using the telephone, it's difficult to read the respondent's feelings about the whole activity. They can't make eye-to-eye contact, and they can't see facial expressions, and they can't read the situation very well. They're relying on a technology. It is, of course, more efficient in terms of resources, but it could also be more unreliable. Telephone interview is an effective means of reaching a wider customer base. Certainly it's the case that simply calling people who are geographically separated out, this is a good way of doing it. But it is biased. The people have to have a telephone, they have to be in at the time, and of course they may not take the activity very seriously. Telephone interviews are a faster means of data collection, and they are a cost-effective method. They are cheaper to do, and they are very fast. You just make a phone call, ask some people some questions, and those are the answers. At least that's what it appears to be. They're effective for business-to-business markets, national and international consumers. Particularly business-to-business, because business-to-business understand the importance of giving feedback and helping out, in a sense, colleagues who want to know what the response to a particular product is, or what are the issues in the market. So business to business, they tend to be more helpful. If it's international as well, if someone phones you from a different country, it clearly sounds important. Although with modern communications techniques, it is possible to phone around the world for almost nothing, and which means that the value of international calls, in a sense, have been devalued. It's been reduced because modern communications techniques has made this much cheaper. So therefore, it's not taken as seriously. Telephone surveys are appropriate for continuous research to track customer satisfaction on a regular basis. Well, it may be possible to establish a relationship with certain customers and call them back from time to time to gauge how they feel about the product and what changes they would like to see based on their experience of using the product and so on. So it may be possible, but there may also be issues. Disadvantages. Well, the interview process is shorter than personal interviews. To avoid respondents losing interest, questions have to be simple and relevant. So straightforward questions, and it usually has to be quite a short activity. People will not sit on the phone for a long period of time answering a lot of sophisticated questions. They will get bored and they will want to do something else. After all, why should they help out? There's no access to visual aids. This may be problematic for customers who have, let's say, special needs, or indeed just customers who don't quite understand the product that's been discussed, or the ways in which the product could be used. So they have to rely entirely on what's been said on the phone, and that may be a problem. There's no face-to-face contact, which makes it difficult to predict emotions and customer behaviour. The interviewer can't see the respondent, and therefore they can't judge what the respondent is feeling or doing. With face-to-face contact, if the respondent is rolling his or her eyes or starting to look around, it means they're losing concentration, they're losing attention, they're not that interested, and something can be put back in place. The interviewer can try to regain interest in the respondent. But with the telephone, they can't see the respondent, so they don't know. But as I said at the outset, one of the bigger issues here is the bad publicity that telephone interviews are getting. Just cold calling customers to ask their opinions is seen as intrusive. It could also mask some sort of selling activity. That, first of all, the interviewer is trying to determine the respondent's attitude to a certain product or a certain market condition, and then goes on to try and sell a product. And all of this is now joined together to build up a type of resistance to the use of telephone interviews. And for that reason, they seem to be becoming less popular. Self-completing questionnaires. Well, self-completing questionnaires are another form of customer satisfaction survey. The questionnaires are provided to customers and they complete as and when they prefer. So they might be, for example, sent through the post. It's just a questionnaire and delivered to various households, and then they fill them out whenever they have time and post them back in, let's say, a self address, sorry, an addressed envelope with postage paid. This form of survey gives complete customer independence. The survey can be completed in store, sent through the post, or fax. Fax is the old-fashioned technology that was used, but sometimes it gets mentioned in the literature. Nowadays, the self-completing questionnaires may more than likely go by email or be published online in terms of electronic forms. But one way or the other, it's the customer is in charge of as and when he or she completes it, and the amount of detail they put onto the form and how they return it. Now, the advantages of self-completing questionnaires. Well, the survey is low cost as there's no need to employ trained interviewers. So once the form has been designed, it's sent out. So there's no trained interviewers required here. It eliminates any bias imposed by the interviewer as a consequence. So the interviewer does not exist, so the interviewer cannot bias the respondent. The respondents get complete confidentiality as the survey offers anonymity. Well, the respondents can fill it out as and when they want and send it back, and it's anonymous. So the respondents can feel comfortable about completing it. The method is good for respondents who do not feel comfortable with personal or telephone interviews. People may not want, as I said, to talk to a complete stranger, or feel reticent about talking to a complete stranger, but filling out a form may get over this problem. It offers a wide range of distribution methods, as I said, post, fax, the old technology, in-store, personally. It could be electronic, it could be on a website, it could be emailed, and so on. It improves the response rate, or it's believed to improve the response rate, but there are arguments against this. The questionnaire must be simple and easy to understand, as there's no interviewers to help with clarification. This may impact on response rate and deter respondents. So it's important that the form is very clearly designed, and to that end should be piloted and tested well in advance before it's sent out. The reliability of the data and its accuracy may be a problem. Respondents may complete questionnaires in a hurry and give little thought to the questions, and that's a problem. They may just fill it out and send it back as quickly as possible. And questionnaires sent by post may not be completed and returned by all customers. It's relying on the goodwill of the customer. To what extent should the customer be involved in this process? Why should they? Why should they complete it? Why should they give up their valuable time to complete these forms? And that's the problem. Electronic survey. Well, electronic survey consists of two types: email surveys and website surveys. The electronic surveys are similar to self-completing forms. But again, they may be seen as just a nuisance. Or why should someone spend time filling out the form online and sending it back? What does the respondent get from this activity? They may get a better product, a better service. They may be entered into a free draw for a foreign holiday or a car or something of this nature. They may get something like that back, but it's a lot of effort. So many people will be put off right from the start. Customers tend to receive an email informing them of a survey and instructions how to complete the survey. Emails normally contain a URL of online web survey. So people have to click on the URL, and on the URL are taken to a different page where the form exists. But again, why should the customers do that? And perhaps to see an email containing a link from someone as spam. They may be sorted straight into the spam box and not even get opened. They're just intrusive or unwanted emails. So why should they respond? Customers can complete electronic surveys as and when they wish. Some organizations offer vouchers and discounts for customers who complete online surveys, thereby, of course, increasing the response rate. So there has to be some sort of inducement to encourage the respondents to participate. Now, the advantages. Well, electronic surveys are very quick to complete. By and large, this should be. The form should be very straightforward and very easy to complete. And the results of the surveys are instant. They can be analysed quite easily on the server, and the results posted back to the website almost instantaneously. It's a cost-effective means of conducting research. There's no cost in printing, no paper or ink or postage and all of that. No trained interviewers required. It's a very cheap way of trying to get information. So it's very easy to embed graphics and multimedia into online surveys. There might even be an explanation video telling the respondent about the survey and why they've been approached to complete it, and there may be graphics or animations or all sorts of attachments. Now, some of these, of course, the respondent may be reticent or reluctant to open because of fear of viruses. So there are issues as well. A large sample can be conducted and a wider customer base can be reached. Well, it's the internet, and the internet is vast. So if the contacts or a database of contacts exists, then it could be a very large survey. But of course, it raises also issues about companies who buy email addresses and companies who sell email addresses. Is this fair? Is it right that people should be spammed and ask for their cooperation? After all, the people who received the emails didn't go actively looking to be involved in this way. So there are issues about that. The electronic survey can exclude certain target groups. For example, some people say the elderly and customers who are IT illiterate. Now, it has to be admitted that more and more elderly people are using the internet and becoming internet savvy. So maybe that is not so much an issue anymore. And likewise, there's greater understanding of IT in the population. And it's certainly filtering out throughout the world. More and more people are picking up the skills for using electronic means of communications. If it's perceived, as I said, as junk mail, surveys can be easily discarded by customers. It can be filtered straight into the spam box, so they're not even opened. And this could lead to a low response rate. And as I said, if there are attachments which are meant to be helpful, they may not be opened because of fear of viruses. So sometimes customers may not complete a survey without incentive, discounts and vouchers. After all, the organisation is asking the respondent to give up some of his or her time to fill out this questionnaire. So why should they? They need to be compensated for their time. And it can be unreliable if the survey has been completed in a hurry. Most customers do not complete surveys unless they have to. So if they have to complete the survey, or if they feel that they should complete the survey, perhaps they don't think about the responses very precisely. They just fill out some responses and send it back. So it's not been well thought out. And that could be actually dangerous for the organisation if they're aiming to launch a new product into the market and they're relying on customers' responses or potential customers' responses. And if the customers are not thinking about what they're saying in any great depth, they're not paying due care and attention, this could lead to wrong information, bad data going back to the organisation, which could lead the organisation to make mistakes in terms of design, product development and so on. So it could be quite dangerous. So these are some of the ways in which customer satisfaction surveys can be developed and completed, and these are some of the issues that need to be considered when looking at customer satisfaction surveys, and the criticisms as well. But that's all we're going to deal with here, so let's leave it for that and say thank you for watching.